Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's a twist. Hey, I kinda like this twist. I should have stuck it out till the end. Hi guys, you alright? So this is the fourth time that I am trying to film this video. And yes, it's a choose your own adventure video. So I have been through 3 adventures so far, and they were all really boring. I still have all of the footage from them though, so if you do want to see them, let me know in the comments. And before I get into the adventure, if you enjoy this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. If you don't enjoy it, give it a dislike, do what you want, I don't care. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So this adventure, and I will link it down below, it's called Existential Choose Your Own Adventure. And the last time I tried to film this video, I did this same adventure, but I'm going to try to take a different path and see if it's any less boring. So, you have just been born, congratulations. To continue, click next. You have just died, sorry for your loss. To continue, click next. After being born, you became a person with choices. This was inevitable, and now you have to make them. You are free to make them. Please click next to continue if you'd like. After a few years, you start ascribing certain meanings to certain sounds. With this new language, you are able to describe yourself at 2 years old. To say you are thirsty, click choice 1. To say you are hungry, click choice 2. Okay, so before I tried thirsty, let's see what happens if I click hungry. Because you are 2 years old, there are many things that you don't understand yet. One night, you wake up in the dark. Shadows crawl up your walls, but they don't bother you much. You're haunted by other things. You want something. Maybe water, maybe your mother, maybe something you've never seen before. You start to cry, but no one comes. Your mother eventually goes into your room and calms you down with lullabies and soft blankets. You never find out what you wanted. Maybe you'll never find out. Several years later, you're 7 and she asks you why you're upset. This time it's because you've gotten bored and haven't cried for something in a while. To stop crying and move on, click choice 1. To continue crying and know that emotions are an inescapable part of life, click choice 2. Okay, so I've seen a very similar situation before when I tried this. You know what? At this point, I'm 7 years old, I'm gonna stop crying and move on. You're 14 now, and it's time to make some big choices. You decide to define yourself as a good doer because of that time you made your dad stop traffic so a turtle could You decide to define yourself as a good doer because of that time your dad You decide to define yourself as a good doer because of that time you made your dad stop traffic so a turtle could cross the street. So it's decided. Your kind, generous past defines your future. What will you do next? To start studying scripture and donating your allowance to various charities, click choice 1. To start being kind to strangers and turtles alike, but to put off major life choices until you're an adult, click choice 2. Let's be kind and put off major life choices. Because I'm only 14 at this point. At 16, you're doing pretty well. You have good friends, even a few best friends. You do everything together, and you're almost never alone. Still, you can't help but wonder if they're affecting you too much. One of your friends keeps cheating on tests, keeps wanting you to help them cheat. Right. To help them out, click choice 1. To report them to a teacher, click choice 2. To put off making the decision and start avoiding your friend, click choice 3. So, you know what? They're a friend, so I could help them out. I'm not going to report them to a teacher because snitches get stitches. I know it's just a game, but let's help them out in cheating. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. You help your friend out. They thank you, but it feels more dirty than anything else. The next week they ask you to help them finish their math worksheet, whispering the quest into your ear from the seat behind you. You complete your own homework the night before, and now you're both in history class. 30 minutes until math starts. Just this once, they slip their worksheet over your shoulder as you take it. You catch a glimpse of them taking out their phone. They're going to be on Twitter for the rest of their class. You can feel it. The teacher drones on about President Monroe, or the Monroe Doctrine, or possibly Marilyn Monroe. So I can choose, that's what you said last week, I can say nothing and do their homework, or I can stop hanging out with the people who want to cheat off you. I'm gonna say that's what you said last week. Let's cause a little bit of drama in this friendship. And your friend hisses back, Your history teacher eyes you too but continues on. Why don't you do it yourself? I didn't have time, they say. Your history teacher clears their throat, it seems directed at the back of the class where you're sitting. You decide not to risk saying anything more but silently fume. You don't do their math, though the corner of the worksheet stares at you from under your history notebook. At the end of the class they hold out their hand for their homework. To give it back and then retreat quickly down the hallway, click choice 1. To give it back with an apology, click choice 2. You know what, I'm gonna try and apologise. It may not be received well, let's try it. You apologise for not helping your friend out, but they start to resent you anyway. You don't see them for about a week, a year in teen time, until you spot some of your other friends in the cafeteria with them. You thought they had been sick, but it turns out they wanted to support your cheating friend instead of you. None of them have forgiven you. You complain about them to your remaining friends. Some of them nod, some of them offer words of encouragement, and some look longingly down the cafeteria at the other table. Over the next month, they all start to move there until you're eating lunch alone, and you have to pass their laughing table every day. You've never been this alone before. At home, you eat dinner with your family before going directly upstairs. They probably don't want to talk to you either. You start to get stuck inside your own head. You are so alone. You are so alone. This is really dark. Incredibly dark. You are so alone. 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 What are you going to do about it? You're alone. You could get comfortable with it eventually, you could reject it eventually, but you will know that it's there every day in the back of your head. What will you do? You could start being a loner, a badass, a person who doesn't need anyone else, or you could start over, make new friends and promise to reach out to other lonely people in this world to be kind to them, or you could choose to make choices in the moment, to not define yourself one way or another, but to live every day according to the moment. You know what? Apparently I've lost all my friends, so let's start making new friends and spreading kindness. Make a good choice for once. You are now 21 years old. Based on your teenage self-image, you have become a person of great faith, a good Samaritan. You're damn good at it. No turtles are crushed under cars on your watch, but one day you're feeding the poor at the soup kitchen and are told that the kitchen is being shut down. It only has a few weeks left before funds run out. The last day comes and you are sent home. You still have your accounting job that admittedly pays better than helping the poor, but you are struck by how your town allowed the soup kitchen to close. The next day, you linger outside the empty soup kitchen on your way to work. You duck behind a rose bush to observe the building. A few homeless people are gathered outside. You don't recognize most of them and assume that they haven't heard. You don't recognize most of them and assume that they haven't heard the news. You don't recognize most of them and assume that they haven't yet heard the news. One woman too young to look so old. One woman too young to look so old sits with her back against the brick wall of the building. Eyes closed, neither she nor any of the others notice you looking. They have no idea you were there, and soon the town will forget about helping them. You start questioning yourself. So I can choose, what are they thinking about me right now? Or, what am I doing with my life? You know what? You never really know what someone's thinking about you, so I'm just going to ask, what am I doing with my life? Because I'm now 21. I know when I was 14 I put off these decisions, but I'm 21 now. What are you doing with your life? If you were that young woman and knew a server at the soup kitchen was yards away, would you start to beg? Would you demand that you reopen the soup kitchen? Or would you simply steal your wallet? Unable to fathom why another person would help you willingly. Would you blame her if she wanted you to feed her out of your own pocket? You don't know. This realization causes you to reevaluate your life of faith. Maybe there's more that you can be doing. Maybe there's more that you can know. The world is now wide open. You can do anything, but you are terrified to move from this rosebush. Will you make the right choices? Will you make the right choices? Is this going to happen again? Will you make the right choices? 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 There's so many different ways to say this. Will you make the right choices? 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 Maybe. You made your choices. Maybe they were right. Maybe they were wrong. Either way, it's your life. As you grow up, you have many experiences and many choices. Over time, you change. You learn to accept this. One of your decisions is who you'll spend your time with, who you'll be friends with, and who you'll be more than friends with. At 23, you fall in love. You learn who they are, what they want out of life. You think you know their soul, and they think they know yours. A few years pass and you start thinking that maybe you'll marry them. You don't marry them, but you fall in love some more. You fall out of love more often. At 26 you are hit over the head by love. You marry them, one day you're on a road trip with them. To a wedding or a funeral or to California, to the hell of it, for the fun of it. Halfway there, somewhere in the deserts of Nevada, your spouse turns to you. We're the only ones on this road. There's probably not another person for 50 miles in any direction. And, I ask? We're very alone, they pause. I'm very alone. You're very alone. And that's all. That's all? That's all. You and your spouse eventually make it to your destination. At least, you're stuck in traffic within 10 miles of your destination. The car ahead of you is moving 2 inches at a time, and there are equally clogged lanes on either side of you. We are not alone, you joke. Maybe not, your spouse responds, but what do you think they're thinking? You don't say another word until you're out of traffic. See, I've been to this point in the story before as well. If you think you can't fathom what they're thinking about, click choice 1. If you think they're thinking about what you're thinking about, click choice 2. Again, you never know what someone's thinking, so I'm gonna choose that I can't fathom what anyone else is thinking. Can you ever really know what someone else is thinking? You can guess, you can suppose and presume, you can hypothesize and postulate, but you can't know. You know this. If you were in another car, would you still be thinking about how the breeze through the window feels like heaven on your skin? Or how you love the way the sunlight makes your spouse's eyes shine brighter, even as they squint against it? Would you still be annoyed at the pop music blaring from somewhere ahead of you? You don't know. This realization causes you to reevaluate your life once again. For the second time, your world is wide open. You can do anything at all, anything you want, but you cannot lift your frozen knuckles from the steering wheel. What do you want? So this is the point I got to before when I was like, this is a fail. And now I've been filming for longer than I was before. Great. Look, I'm just gonna see where the adventure goes. What do you want? It changes as the years pass. At 28 you decide you want children. You have 4 of them, a boy, then a girl, then a boy, then a girl. You love them very much and help them make decisions until they discover the freedom and terror that comes with making their own choices. At 33 you decide to grow your hair long and do so. At 34 you decide to hate it and cut it all off. At 37 you decide you want to live in the country. You move that spring and open your windows to clean air and clean grass and clean dirt every morning. Clean dirt. At 46, you decide to hate funerals after burying your parents within a month of each other. You decide you'd like to be cremated. At 55, you decide you love your spouse more and more every day. You realize it's been that way since the day you met, and you promise yourself it will always be that way. You two renew your marriage vows that summer in the mountains where there's still a chill in the air but birds sing. All of your children are present. Your spouse tells you that they love you more every day. You cry because you know. You know the feeling, and you know them. And they know you. At 64 you decide you like rose bushes. Maybe you've always liked them, thorns and all. You have several planted around your house, surrounding it. At 78 you decide not to tell your children your desire to be cremated. Your spouse wasn't cremated, and your children visit their grave often, as do you. At 78 you decide you are more alone than you have ever been before. Why is this choose your own adventure so dark? Whether you could ever fathom other people's thoughts, or other people could ever fathom you, you decide you don't care. At 78, you know you don't care. At 83, you're very sick. Your children visit you, taking turns, and you decide that you can't put them through this much longer, but you want to look back at your life one more time. Did you make the right choices? You decide, lying in bed and shivering with fever, that you don't know what right means. You decide to ask different questions. Did you make meaningful choices? Back to this again. Did you make meaningful choices? 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 Are you making meaningful choices? Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's a twist. Hey, I kinda like this twist. I should have stuck it out till the end. That's literally where it ends. Are you making meaningful choices? So this is the 4th time I've tried to shoot this video. I still don't think that was the most thrilling adventure that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's got a good message. It's like, will you look back on your life and say, yeah, look, I made the right choices, or not? Ah, well, it was kinda cute. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more, there's a couple videos right over there that you can go and click on right now. And there's also a subscribe button right down there that you can click because I post new videos every Monday and Wednesday. And I'll see you soon.